Hey, Pat and Chris back for another episode of Shop Talk, where today we're diving deep again on Ranger. So Chris, what are we going into today?
Yeah, Pat, today we're going to talk about all of the updates that we've made to the Ranger XP1000 lineup since we launched it back in 2018. So we recently launched a new episode that was focused on the new front end style and the changes that were specific for model year 25. This one, we want to take you guys all the way back on everything we've improved on the best lineup in the industry and how we've made it even better over the years.
Yeah, so I think just in case people missed that last episode, quick highlights of the front end, right? Got some new plastic on the hood, the fenders, the grille. We got this beautiful new bumper, right? New winch hook, new fair lead, right? All this stuff in the front end that looks beautiful. But when we think about lighting, what's changed over the years?
Yeah, so one part that's really essential to this new style is our LED headlights. We've had these all the way since 2021. Super bright, these were the industry first, and there's a lot of OEMs out there that still aren't offering these on utility vehicles.
Yeah, makes great when you're using this thing at night, whether you're doing work or out hunting, right?
Yep. The other thing Pat talked about is we made some styling updates on our winch this year, but that winch is still the best in the industry, and it's one that we've added to more and more vehicles over the years. If you think about a Polaris winch versus what you get from some of the competition, we're offering synthetic rope instead of steel cable. We've got our magnetic auto stop feature, so you're not retracting your hook up into your fair lead. They also come with a wireless remote and a switch on the dash, so you can operate your winch from your vehicle or outside of your vehicle using your wireless remote. They're also waterproof and submersible. So a lot of extra benefit that you get with a Polaris winch. All we did for this year is just make them look a little bit cooler and integrate with that new front end style.
Yeah, for sure. So I think let's maybe come down to the front corner because there's quite a bit of change that's gone on here too, right? So when we think rim and tire upgrade, right? What's changed on the wheel end here when you think rim and tire?
Yep, so when we first launched the Ranger XP1000 back in 2018, it had 12-inch wheels and a maximum tire size of 27 inches. We heard from you guys pretty quickly that you wanted bigger and more, like Pat likes to say. And so we went to a 14-inch wheel along with up to 29-inch tires to add more ground clearance. With that, we had to make some changes to the frame and suspension along the way.
Yeah, that's for sure. So I think when you look in at these A-Arms, right, we actually beefed these up over the years, and we've gone to bigger tubes, and actually the joints have gone to bigger bolts as well. And we've got fully sealed bushings on them as well, so you don't have to worry about getting in there with your greaser doing maintenance. You know, it keeps all that dirt and moisture out, so you can just keep operating and never worrying about a squeaky front end. All right, so Chris, what do we need to talk about on the back of this Ranger?
Well, the first one's just another little styling element, just a little bit of bling bling, but we added these NorthStar badges to all the NorthStar vehicles last year. Just something to make the vehicle look a little bit more premium, a little bit nicer.
Yeah, and I think not only with that, right, but when you think about ease of operation, I mean, this is a one-handed tailgate now, right? We upgraded the hook over the years here. The latch rod has actually been beefed up to make it a little stiffer over time. And it really just makes for this nice, smooth, one-handed, easy operation of that tailgate, right? The other thing I think we got to point out is actually where the box latches into the frame, right? So you guys can probably see it better. Maybe you can explain it from your side.
Yeah, so one thing we've experienced on this product itself is because our consumers are going over such variable terrain, oftentimes your box would actually pivot separate from the vehicle, and that would create a squeaking noise. What our engineers did to get around this is we developed a new roller system. So Eric, if you can come up in here, this is the new roller latch design that interfaces with the catch that's a little bit further down. What's new about this design is that the previous was all metal, and so you had a metal-to-metal contact with your box latch. What's really nice about this new design is that this roller can actually move as the vehicle flexes, and as it shifts along the metal of the catch, it doesn't create a squeak as you're going over that uneven terrain. And that interfaces with this bracket down here. Now with this new box, that roller is going to interface with the bracket, and when you go over bumps, it can just roll and it can move side to side, so you don't get that annoying squeak that you could get if you're in off-road terrain or really shaking around. I think that's a good example of Polaris engineering and the amount of detail that goes into these designs and how we really work to make them perfect over the years.
All right, so now that we went through some of the style features, let's jump into some of the driveline durability upgrades that have been done over the years. So the first thing we're going to start with is these half shafts. So we've actually upgraded the strength on these. We've gone to actually a higher temp material on the boot, along with some better grease and overall stronger shafts. As we come back on the clutches, you can see I've got a driven clutch here, and we've actually added this plate over time. We've gone to way more cooling fins. There's a bushing here on the inside, so you get much smoother drive away in operation from that driven. This is the clutch that goes on the transmission. The drive here is the one that goes on the engine. So again, we've redesigned and upgraded this over the years as well. So kind of all new clutch system on the Ranger. If you look at front drives, you can see this is what we used to use, where it hard bolted to the chassis, whereas the new one has these nice rubber dampers. So this actually isolates this from the frame. Beauty of that is twofold. Number one, it's actually a stronger front drive, but it also isolates some of the vibration and noise. So you don't hear that strumming and drumming, especially if you've got a cab unit on a crew, where that was something that people would complain about back in the day. And then we went through this in detail on a previous episode, but this buttery smooth shifting on these new transmissions is just absolutely fantastic. So when you think kind of back to front, there's been tons of driveline and durability upgrades on these Ranger XPs over the years.
All right, so Pat just walked you guys through a lot of the under the skin updates that we've made to the XP1000. He was pretty quick as he was talking about the transmission, the half shafts, the clutches. But don't forget, we've got some shop talk videos that go very in-depth on those. So if you want to learn more about any of those parts, just check out those videos.
Yeah, so I think the next thing we got to dive into is what we've done for some of the sealing aspects on this cab over the years, right? So when you think, upgraded and updated windshield seals, we actually now go in and actually fill in the joints between the cage and the main frame. We've got sealing panels in all four corners, so down here, up above. And I think if you kind of scroll over, Chris, you're probably a little closer, maybe talk about the roof and the doors.
Yep, so we also redesigned the crew roof for model year 25. So we reversed to the direction of the shingling of the two roof panels, improved that seal a little bit, and then also added some more fasteners to make it a little bit more robust.
All right, so now getting into doors. There's been a few updates over the years on those, right?
Yep, so we've completely redesigned the door seals. I think especially focused on some of these areas where we're going around angles. You can see these are actually engineered now, and they fit the way they should every time. The other update we made to the doors is we completely redid the inner door panel. So we went from a bunch of parts that all fit together to one piece. Makes it look a little bit better. It also seals a little bit better. Kept a lot of storage in the doors while we were doing so.
Nice. I think the other thing, I noticed looking up at the top of this roof too, right? We got a nice headliner in there to cut down on some of the noise.
Yep.
Also makes it look good, right? So that's gotten added in over time. But, Chris, when we think about all this sealing, the hood liner, like, why do we have to do all that? Why do we care?
As we've sold more and more NorthStars to you guys, we've gotten a lot of feedback. And so that's why we've been really focused on sealing up the cab. So we're trying to keep water out, keep dust out. But the next thing we'll talk about here is after you get the cab all sealed up, you want to be able to cool it down and heat it up really well.
Yeah, absolutely. And over time, there's been a couple key upgrades that have gone on there. We've actually, upgraded some of the sealing on the lines over time, and we moved to a variable rate compressor. So that compressor doesn't always have to spin at the same speed as the engine. So we can actually get better cooling performance when you're idling or when you're, driving around at slow or even high speeds. So that's been a big upgrade that's really extended the riding season on these Rangers too.
Oh yeah. All right, so we got these things sealed up. Then we improved the air conditioning quite a bit. And what that led to is you guys are spending a lot more time in these vehicles. So you're riding them year round, riding them for more hours a day. Next logical thing was we needed to make the seats even better on this vehicle. So we wanted to maintain some of the really signature Ranger DNA by having a bench seat you can slide in and out of, but we made the foam more comfortable. Up top, we added bolsters to the seat backs and changed the seat back angle a little bit. This makes the seat more comfortable to sit in for a long time. These bolsters also grip your sides as you're going over uneven off-road terrain and make the vehicle more comfortable. And that's both when you first get in it, as well as after a day of spending 5 or 6 hours in your Ranger.
Yeah, for sure. So I think, right, as it cools better, you get more season, you got more comfortable seats, the ceiling's better. What's the next logical thing to be thinking about?
Next logical thing is the experience you get in the cab related to sound and entertainment. So as we've sealed these things up, we started to get more feedback from you guys that you wanted to really improve the in-cab experience. And so we started focusing on what we call NVH, or noise, vibration, and harshness. And every change that we've made to our vehicle since has incorporated our mission to make these vehicles quieter. You'll notice that in everything from the front drives to the way the clutches are designed, as well as some stuff inside the vehicle that Pat can show you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you think about things like this headliner, you know, not only does it look good, but it also absorbs some of that sound. We've got additional sealing under the seat, you know, helps keep some of the dust and noise out. On the rear panel, we've also got some acoustic treatment, similar to the headliner that you can see back here on a Crew. Again, it helps dampen some of that engine and driveline noise down. You know, I don't know if you guys can maybe get in and see some of this, you know, down between the seats or up behind the seat back here. But overall, you know, it helps quiet that cab down so you hear the noises you want and you don't hear the ones you don't. So Chris, is there anything else we got to cover off on when you think about the evolution of the Ranger XP?
Yep, I've got one more, but you actually missed one, Pat.
Oh!
So after we added all these sound deadening panels, we also added one in the rear seat of a Crew vehicle. This really just cleans up the rear end, but it's another one of those, what we would call like a sound abatement panel inside of the cab. Is something that can absorb some of that sound and that noise, just making for an overall quieter experience.
I think the one thing we got to not forget is this awesome ride command experience as well, right? We've got off-road navigation that's capable. When you shift this thing into reverse, you'll get the reverse camera automatically, which is pretty nice. And you can pair up your phone, so if you want to stream audio right off your, you know, favorite streaming service, you can do that really easily. But I think there's one other thing that, you know, has been added in for Ranger, right, that we don't have on, you know, Razors that I'm used to looking at when you think about ride command, yeah?
Yeah, one that I'm excited about as a hunter is we added a new feature that not everybody knows about yet, and that's our game camera viewer. So you can actually plug your card readers right into the USB on your Ranger, and then you can pull up this game viewer app to be able to view the photos that you have.
Yeah, you'll have to ignore all my GPS points on this from being out in Glamis. But let's get down to some of your examples here.
Yeah, so we just pulled down a couple examples of some game cameras, but as you can see, you know, you can scroll through, you can see what you've got on your card. You can also get rid of them, you know, if you get a picture of a squirrel or something you don't care about. So it allows you to just manage what's on your card right from your Ranger out at your trail cam, put it back and get on the way. So just a little bit more convenient feature for us hunters.
Awesome.
The last thing we did is after we got these things sealed up, got the air conditioning colder, worked on the noise that was translated into the cabs, is we had to top it off with a really awesome audio system. So you guys will remember that we launched the new JBL Trail Pro audio on the Polaris Expedition and the XD1500 this year. We're really excited about that, and we've now adopted that same audio system on the Ranger XP 1000 and 1000 models. So from the factory, you can get a NorthStar Ultimate with ride command, as well as that JBL audio. We just walked you through most of the big improvements that we've made to the Ranger XP 1000 over the years. Thanks for your time.
Hey, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and let us know what you want to see on future episodes of Shop Talk.